when Srila Prabhupada was living in Mathura for a little while, he was writing, I think, Easy Journey to Other Planets at that time. And he was just very humble, just writing. And one day, this old brahmachari told me this story, that one day they were sitting, they had come late to lunch, they had been out preaching or something, and he and Srila Prabhupada were sitting eating some leftover prasadam, and up comes the stairs, comes these very rich people from, some visitors or something. They kind of looked around and saw that it was pretty dilapidated, and they just walked that down the stairs. And then he said that Srila Prabhupada turned to him and he said, "Oh, just look. They are coming up the stairs and all they are seeing is an old man eating a dry chapati." He goes, "But they don't know what plans Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has for this old man." This was told to me by one brahmachari who, when Srila Prabhupada was leaving, he came with his guru, and he had seen Srila Prabhupada a few times when he was a young boy in Bengal, and Prabhupada had asked him if he would help him by helping to train up his young boys, his young disciples. But he was pretty young himself at that time, didn't speak English, and he was terrified of the Western devotees because people had said that we were CIA and we would kidnap them and make them marry an American girl or something. So he was frightened, but he said that he always remembered that instruction. And then he said that when Srila Prabhupada was leaving, he was sitting in the room, and Srila Prabhupada was just lying on his bed. He wasn't saying anything. And he said he was sitting there and he was praying to Srila Prabhupada. "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, I know that you're fulfilling the order of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and I want to help. And I've never been able to do it, and I'm so sorry." And he was lamenting like that in his heart. But he said he also had some really deep questions about the holy name. And I think this is a brahmachari who had been chanting 64 rounds for about 15 years. I don't know what questions he could have had, but he had some, and they were in his heart. And he was sitting there, and he said that all of a sudden the servant and whoever else was there went out of the room, and he was just alone with Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada was lying on the bed. And he kind of looked at him, and he saw that Srila Prabhupada had one eye open. And with that eye, he went like this. So he kind of was so nervous, but he scooted over, and Prabhupada kept going like this, "Come closer." And finally, he got right next to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada put his mouth right by his ear. And he said in the most amazing way, Srila Prabhupada chanted the Mahamantra into his ear. And he said that when the Mahamantra went into his ear, just like a waterfall flowing into his heart, every answer to every question and 1,000 more came into his heart. He had never experienced anything like that meaning of the holy name that Prabhupada was giving him. And then he said he looked at Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada just looked at him with the one eye, and then he just closed his eye. I don't know if my husband told this story, but when Srila Prabhupada used to leave LA, afterwards people like Ujjwala and some of the ladies who were in charge of the cleaning, they used to go around really fast and gather up any kind of nectar there was, and then they would give out little pieces to some people. And so one time, she gave a little notebook to Gopa, Vrindapal Prabhu, and we had that notebook for many years after we were married, and we just thought it was empty. And on the front of it, it just said Hong Kong Hilton. And for some reason, it must have been Yogamaya or something. We never looked that carefully into that notebook. And one day, we opened it up. We were clearing through all of the Prabhupada nectar that we had and putting it into a little sacred box. And all of a sudden, Gopa goes, "Oh, look!" And there was this one little page near the back. And on that page, it was very amazing. Srila Prabhupada had a phone number and a couple other things. And then it looked like he was kind of doodling. But transcendentally doodling, I don't know. But he wrote 2 times in this very beautiful script, kind of like how he signed his name, but even more ornate. And at first we were looking like, what does it say? And then we suddenly saw it clear, and it was 2 lines of the same thing. And what it said was, "Save the world from godlessness." So that's a treasure.
true